all zooming in from different locations, the City College of New York sits on the stolen land of the Lenni Lenape Native Americans who lived, worked, and created here. So as we share the work constructed by our artist researchers, celebrate our students as they finish their time with us, and continue their journeys as artist educators, let us remember those who came before us and recognize that the city where our college sits was built on the shoulders of Native American and immigrant communities. Welcome, everyone. And a special welcome to President Boudreaux, Interim Dean Lamboy, Interim Deputy Dean Ratner, Department Chair Professor Gellert. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping items. Please put yourself on mute. And to optimize your viewing experience, consider putting Zoom on speaker view. And now I'm so happy to introduce the director of the Educational Theater Program, Shobha Kavnakudial.
Hi, everyone. I'm so delighted to welcome all of you from our City College community to all of our family and friends that are zooming in from different locations. This is one of our favorite evenings in our program, one where we get to celebrate our students and their journey as artists and as educators. These are challenging times, and the work we do as artists is more important than ever to support the children in the schools and communities where we work. Tonight, we have a fantastic evening planned, as we will first see a performance called Breathe, and then have an opportunity to celebrate our graduates. So with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Jan Valley, to share with you a little bit about the performance. Jan?
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for sharing in this special evening for the students of the Creating an Ethnodrama class who have been working toward this moment since last September. As the instructor of this 2-semester course, I want to share just a bit of context about the process behind the performance that you will see this evening. So I'm going to begin by clarifying what exactly constitutes an ethnodrama. The goal of an ethnodrama, which is one of many arts-based research methods, is to investigate a particular facet of the human condition, most often an issue of social justice, by conducting research and interviews for the purpose of creating a script and performance based on the data collected. It is typically a play, but in our case, because of COVID, a recorded medium. In other words, you can expect to hear actual words from persons interviewed within much of the script. Back in the fall semester, the class collectively agreed upon a topic of research, the impact of COVID upon New Yorkers, with a particular focus on the inherent social inequities highlighted by the pandemic. The students self-selected into 4 research subgroups: data and history, education, economics, and health and mental health. It is significant to point out that what you will see tonight has been created collaboratively without the students ever being in person together. It's my privilege to have worked with these students over the past year, and I'm sure that you will likewise feel privileged after viewing their work. Enjoy the performance.
It is easy to distance ourselves from the history and the data in order to create a sense of security, despite the reality. The United States of America has once again suffered a deadly pandemic, sacrificing thousands of lives in the process. As we live through this pandemic and continue to see the rising numbers of infections and deaths around the country, we tend to look in the rearview mirror of history to try and find a reason for this detrimental tragedy. In order to fully contemplate and contextualize the COVID-19 pandemic, we must understand and see the similarities and differences in the past and present crisis, which will give us an understanding of how history has repeated itself, and if anything, what we have learned from it. Nobody knew what to do. I guess that's why we all bought water and toilet paper. I just remember being at Costco and everyone was freaking out. I just remember being so stressed out. It was like the uncertainty of it. It was like the end of the world situation. Like we've seen this in movies over and over again, but we've never prepared for it in our real life.
And Aunt Delia, she knew my mother growing up, and we were actually going to meet to talk about my mother because she knew things about my mom that no one else knew. And she came down with, I guess, what everyone thought was the flu. And she's like, you know, old timers. She's in her 80s. Oh, I'm going to drink some tea. I'm going to drink some ginger tea. I've got cancer, but that'll make it go away. So she was coughing and hacking, and everyone was like, you need to see your doctor. And she was like, no. So she stayed in her house and died. She died from COVID, we later found out. But I never found out the stuff I needed to know about my mother. I was hoping to have some closure, and I was sad at first that I couldn't speak to her. But then I was glad that we didn't make that meeting because it would have been in person. And then I could contract something and pass it on to others.
It was not as bad as other people's, which I try to acknowledge when we're all feeling the stress of it. But fortunately, nobody close to me got sick. But I have seen how it's affected people emotionally. But we did have one kid who stayed with us who wound up testing positive, and that really frightened my daughter. And to tell you the truth, it scared me too, because I have medical conditions that put me at higher risk. And my father, who's 85, wound up stopping by the day that the kid left. And we found out 2 days later that the kid wound up testing positive. And it was a very real fear that we were exposed and could get it. And that kept me up at night.
I'm at home with the 75-inch television screen, which I bought pre-COVID because I don't have a likable personality. So I would get big screens so people have a reason to come visit me. So it's so strange with COVID. It's the isolation. It's strange because as a movie critic, you watch all these films and you see people who are isolated. And before COVID, you would say, how could they survive? But then we're surviving this isolation.
Yes. Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. They said April. That's a rumor. I don't even know. I'm just waiting to get back into the building. I do not like to be at home. I can't study at home. People live in my house and they don't care. I'm in class and they're yelling, and then I gotta yell at the whole house like, can you please stop yelling? I'm listening to my teacher. I don't even know what she's saying. Yeah, I guess I'm just waiting to be within a facility with a room and a teacher and just learn. So I guess I'm very excited. I'm just waiting for everyone.
Hi, friends. Hi. So happy to have everyone here today. Oh, it looks like one of our friends is still trying to connect. That's okay, sweetheart. You join us when your camera is working, okay? Oh, good job. Jamie, do you have something that you want to say today? I know you were raising your hand.
And then I went to the store yesterday, and then I went to the beach, and then after the beach, then we went to the ice cream store, and then
You're a little loud, sweetheart. Okay, just a little loud. The camera gets all wonky when you yell into the screen. Okay, no worries. We're gonna pass to the next person. Okay. Okay. Laura, is your hand raised, sweetheart? Oh, hi, Chantel. Hi.
Kenda, hi!
Oh, and she's gone. Okay, Laura, honey, did you want to have a turn?
Yeah, I found this.
Oh, okay. That wasn't really a
My mommy's.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna move down to Lexi, okay? Is that okay? Hi, Lexi. How are you, sweet pea? Oh, Lexi, honey, your mute button. Lexi, can you hit the big button? The big red button, Lexi. Oh, and Sheridan's gone. Okay, Lexi, the big red button. Okay. Okay. You know what, friends? We're gonna end class here today. Just we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, a little all over the place, but you know what? It's okay. And I will see you all tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, friends. Bye.
I just do not know what to do with my son anymore. He really is a people person, and he was just starting to get into school when, boom, the pandemic hits, and now he's stuck at home with his brothers and me. I worry about him socially. He really loves to talk, and it's really hard right now to just sit there for 20 minutes and talk about nothing with him. The other day, we were all running around the house and trying to get ready, and there he is just staring up at me with those big brown eyes, looking at me and saying, "Mommy, please play with me." So what do? I take a jar of multicolored beans off of the wall, and I throw them down with an ice cube tray, and I say, "Here, sort these by size and color, and I'll be back in 20 minutes. And you know what? He didn't. He sat there and sifted through them like Cinderella sifting lentils through the ashes. Now, I don't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing, but you know what? It was 20 minutes of entertainment. And at this stage in the game, those 20 minutes are a blessing.
Just when I think I'm finally done and I can go to sleep, there is
My
one
child has extreme special needs.
I just can't do it anymore.
And he cannot just stare at the screen. And I don't need to punish for his administration going to deal with this situation.
And we're I'm just so drained.
I think I might need to retire.
I feel like I'm losing my steam. I mean, there are so many students right now that are going to counseling for help because they're having a hard time managing life and school. When they unmute themselves, you can hear tons of noise in the background, and you're just like, oh my gosh, how do they even concentrate like that? In my class? How do I expect them to do that? I don't know. It just blows me away how resilient these students are. I do think they're losing steam though. They're feeling fatigued. We're all tired.
All right, good morning, guys. We're gonna pick up right where we left off yesterday. So I just posted a link in the chat. If you could go ahead and click that and join us on the document.
Miss Summer Russo?
Yeah, who is that? Becca? Yeah.
Can we hold up for a sec? Did you see what went on at the Capitol yesterday? It was crazy, right?
Wait, nah, dog, what happened?
No, dude, you didn't see? Oh my god. Okay, so some Trump people, they stormed the Capitol and they were like able to get in and they stole stuff and destroyed things and I think somebody died. It was nuts.
What? Whoa, how have I not heard about that?
I did actually see it. I watched it on TV for most of the day. It was truly something that we have never seen before. It was a lot. Anyway, as I was saying, if you could just... Yeah, Jamie, what's up?
My parents don't want me talking about this. They say it's not for kids, but I want to know what's going on. I need to know.
Okay, all right. Okay, how about this? If we have some time at the end, we can talk about it for a few minutes. If you want, you can stay and...
Important. This is happening right now. The stuff we're reading about in class was back then. We need to talk about this now.
Okay. You're right. Who wants to talk about this? Okay. All right, let's start here. How do you guys feel about what happened at the Capitol yesterday?
School's always been hard for you. Ever since you can remember, you never found that joy of going to school like your friends did. It always made you feel different from everyone. You're finally here. Made so many new friends. Thinking this is it. A few months and I'm out of here. So you get called to a meeting and they tell you that not only will you not be graduating this year, but you'll need more than half a year. A whole extra year of school. You're ready to drop out and give up. You sat down with your parents and told them that you can't do it anymore and that you need to drop out to save yourself. Then Corona came. If it didn't come, you wouldn't be on your way to getting your diploma right now. The pandemic saved your future. I can't tell where I'd be next year at this time. But from the pandemic, I've learned a lot. The biggest thing I've learned is that you don't realize what you have until it's gone. A lot was taken from everyone, so fast, all overnight. It's kind of crazy.
But you need to be present and living now.
I did go to Costco once with a friend.
And smelling the roses and enjoying everything now.
That was Costco on 107th Street.
I think that's what Chadwick Boseman had said.
All these people bought Costco memberships.
You need to stop. You need to smell the roses.
Because they were afraid of their groceries.
You need to feel the sun as it warms your face.
And I bought some cans of beans, which I'm not especially fond of.
You need to look outside, even when it's raining.
Still have.
And look at each individual raindrop.
And haven't used.
Listen to the raindrops. It has a rhythm.
I have to be really desperate when I eat beans.
You know, just even the trees without the leaves right now. Just enjoy all the angles of the branches. It's like they're dancing together.
Dancing in the kitchen through a guided exploration.
I just remember being in the backyard and I started running. I just started running around the yard and I'm sure it looked like I was a crazy person, but to be able to have that space, I was so appreciative. Just to be able to run around and be outside and to have that space and breathe and think and maybe at that moment that to think you're okay, you know, and this is normal. Well, while wearing a mask, you know, the new normal. I remember my niece and nephews following me and they're like, what's going on? This is some crazy game. If you only knew, I just needed to breathe.
The body was already so fragile.
So we slowly started seeing this wave of change that was happening. I just assumed I'd be back to work sooner.
There's other weird things no one could have expected.
No one could have expected.
The fact that my industry was on the verge of collapse.
I didn't care what sock I put on, but now I really, really care deeply about what socks I put on.
I tried to draw business as usual, but my output slowed down. But there were bigger things to worry about.
No one could have expected.
That there could be some disease that's going to shut us down?
They said no one come into work tomorrow. Everyone take 2 weeks.
No one could have expected.
I just remember me and at least 600 actors. Everyone was in Times Square. And it was like this dark cloud coming. I mean, energetically. All the actors were doing these really, really dark monologues and everyone was crying. And I just did that whole day without a mask. I still think about that. Wow. That was sort of the end.
Playing in the depths of plague and loss, the wail of sirens was our city's night song.
It's been very scary, moment to moment.
One of my jobs made me go and teach a class 2 days before all this. I remember feeling like, I don't really like this. They're putting my students and my life at risk.
I feel like I spend 22 hours a day in the bedroom, and it kind of drives me crazy.
I think we miss seeing our friends. We miss seeing our families, being part of a community that's very vibrant and very, sort of socially abuzz.
I just ran up to the roof, ugly crying. These extreme reactions to the most mundane stuff. We tried to embrace the absurdity of it all in order to not give into the despair. I was kind of whipping myself and running for the carrot, but then I had the time to stop and be like, do you really need this carrot? It was just automatic. I had the time to sit down and ask, do you really want these things? Do I really need that carrot?
Yes, I'm an independent contractor, so I'm supposed to be able to set my own schedule, but in reality, if I want to continue getting work, I have to say yes all the time. I just felt pressure to take everything, and I was failing at everything. Do I?
Do I?
Do I? Do I really need that carrot?
If you are living in New York, you are hustling on many levels. From my experience, from getting paid under the table peanuts to thriving as a freelancer, it is all a matter of survival. Adapt or die.
I advise my employees to go on unemployment. It doesn't make sense to work 7 hours and make $30.
We actually created a website, and then we opened up the revenue for doing deliveries. I even delivered to Brooklyn, like a hospital. You want wine? I'll be there in 30 minutes. No wasn't an option.
Adapt or die.
I just feel like the back of the house and the front of the house and having to hustle for tips and all those things, you get to see how this country relies on this underclass of workers who can't get all these benefits.
Okay, so we've built this business from the ground up, and this is how you're affecting us. You have these agents coming in, harassing us, and making us feel guilty for being open.
I would like to look him straight in the eye and say, I know you've made your choices to protect people. Thank you. But how are you going to help us get back?
You have to listen to your constituents. We're invested here. If not financially, it's like our home. It's where we live. It's the fabric of our community.
Adapt or die.
I was in Dumbo, I think. It was a little bookstore called Powerhouse, maybe. Anyway, I walked by and there's this cutout of Cuomo, and it's like, how I handled the crisis. I was scandalized for the rest of the day. I mean, first, when did he have the time? And I'm sure he didn't write it, but I mean, come on. Second, the crisis is nowhere near over. When the hell did he have time to write a book?
Scandalized.
I was scandalized for the rest of the day.
Scandalized.
When you see the tables empty, or you see the gate down on a certain place, just shows you that everything could be chugging along, and then one day, because of an illness or an accident, it's so tenuous.
Every cent went to rent because our rent was $5,000 a month. I just gave it all away.
I was in a work meeting on Zoom. I heard this sound. I was like, did she fall again? I yelled, Mom, are you okay? And there was a pause. And everyone in the Zoom was like, is everything okay? I thought I was on mute. This is who I am. When I show up, I'm not just showing up as a teacher. I'm also showing up as a daughter. Is this job really more important than potentially someone you know who is hurt or in pain?
I'm nothing right now. Like when that's been your identity for 20 years. Hardcore, busy, busy, busy. And then it's nothing. Like literally the carpet's been pulled out from under you. And you're in the abyss.
I'm trying to be mindful of the tone of my life. I had this urge. I just had this fantasy of stopping everything. Like I would wake up and I'd be walking around moving from place to place, and like it'd be so cool if I could just press the stop button and just really stop. We're going to emerge back into a different world. Hopefully, that's a good thing. Hopefully, it also is a moment for everybody to assess what really matters.
I remember when my son Jackson, he's 5, he was eating his oatmeal and he's like, Mom, I really like you being home with me. When you're home with me, it's like you're my teacher. I'm going to call you Mrs. Mom.
I feel like this pandemic is really highlighting all of the ways our work takes from us and doesn't give back.
I look back on my life in New York and it just didn't have to be that hard.
The government's been stepping up a little bit, where it's focusing on businesses, brown women, and minorities. So for me, it's been nice to have some grants to expand the business.
There's a lot of possibility with the flexibility of the virtual space. If it was challenging for you to leave your home because of finances or physical disability, this is really something.
I'm ready for something new for sure. It's going to be good and different, but I don't think we would have considered something like this if it wasn't for COVID.
It was also an eye-opener to the injustices that are happening. It's shining a light on those people who are taking, and then those people who are building the economy aren't getting any of it. So it's helping to shine a light.
One of the worst through which I have ever passed. I was able to control the spasms of coughing, but his condition looked very serious.
There was no leadership or guidance of any kind directly from the White House.
I would have answered your letter of October 14th sooner had not my secretary been absent with the influenza.
I think that abstinence has been lacking in much of the education, and one of the things that's been wrong with too much of our education is that no kinds of values of right and wrong are being taught, and what's taught in the schools is up to the parents and local officials, not the federal government.
In a press briefing at the White House, a journalist asked President Reagan's press secretary, Larry Speakes, does the president have any reaction to the announcement the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta that AIDS is now an epidemic and have over 600 cases? Speakes responded, "What is AIDS?"
What we need right now in the battle against AIDS is a good strong dose of common sense. It seems to me common sense to recognize that when it comes to stopping the spread of AIDS, medicine and morality teach the same lessons. It's also common sense that ignorance about the extent of the spread of AIDS won't help anyone. Those who have it, those who might get it, those who are looking for ways of preventing its spread. This is why I called recently for certain kinds of testing. I hope the Commission will help us put aside our suspicions and work together with common sense against this common threat.
Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. One of my people came up to me and said, "Mr. President, they tried to beat you on Russia, Russia, Russia. That didn't work out too well. They couldn't do it. They tried the impeachment hoax. That was on a perfect conversation. They tried anything. They tried it over and over. And this is their new hoax."
You just breathe the air and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than even your strenuous flus. This is deadly stuff.
The coronavirus is very much under control in the USA. We are in contact with everyone and all relevant countries. CDC and World Health have been working hard and very smart. Stock market starting to look very good to me.
Scientists are currently working on identifying how the virus is spread. They know it is a respiratory virus and can survive on surfaces for 3 days. The CDC is encouraging people to wear masks and social distance.
Thank God that's not happening here.
That better not be that coronavirus that's going around.
The plague? In 1315, 200 million people died out of the plague.
If she coughs or takes off that mask one more time, I'm leaving this train car.
Stay at home.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna leave this train car. I'm out.
So I have been a registered nurse for 21 years, and I've been a school nurse for the past 6 years. I knew that it was coming back in January because I was listening to the news and I was reading articles, and I learned a lot about it between January and February. By mid-February, I was a little bit nervous and worried because there were lots of people at my job and students becoming ill more than usual, and I was trying to speak to my higher-ups and the administration on my worries about it and what we should do. Kind of felt like my phone call with the superintendent was rushed and kind of not being considered. My concerns were that I didn't have enough PPE, which is personal protective equipment, to protect myself or to protect others. I could not provide over 400 people in one building with masks. I didn't have the space to isolate anyone that was sick, and I kind of felt brushed off in the conversation. Then I spoke with one of my nursing supervisors who was very receptive to my concerns and actually sent in another nurse that day to help me out because she knew I was being overwhelmed with a lot of sick people coming in to be assessed.
What do we do?
No plan, not knowing what'll happen.
This is really a big deal.
There was a panic. I can't breathe.
COVID virus.
Kept my job.
Isolate.
Steer crazy.
I lost my job.
I can't breathe.
People got sick. I myself got sick.
Wear your mask.
We couldn't even go in and see him in the hospital.
I can't breathe.
Wash your hands.
New York City.
He was shot.
We lost him?
No justice, no peace.
I can't breathe.
Ventilators.
So much confusion.
Wash your hands.
Running out of food.
We will get through.
Not in control.
I can't breathe.
In the beginning, I was so fearful and getting a lot of anxiety. The news contributed to that anxiety, so I stopped watching for a while. And then I felt better as the days got warmer and we were able to do more outdoor activities and the numbers came down significantly. And I felt much more comfortable. I felt safer and I felt my family was safer and we could see each other more. And then crazy things started happening. And the anxiety and the fear just came right back. What are people in this world thinking? Or this country? It's like, what are they doing to each other? And it was upsetting. It was just making me feel very angry at the way that people behave toward each other. Didn't we learn enough from this pandemic when it all started about what's important in life?
Everything was happening so fast that most people likely had a difficult time, asking themselves, is it worth living anymore? If you're gonna live with so much fear all the time, are you still living? A lot of people are spreading false information and so many are misinformed. We're led by politicians who are usually not affected by what they claim to be addressing because of the amount of money they have or where they live.
Nobody likes to be forced to do anything in America. And lockdowns are forcing people to do something. If Americans want to go out, get COVID-19, then they're going to do it. You're not going to tell me if I'm right or wrong. Each state wants to maintain control. It's really not unified or the United States as it should be. There's a criteria that we have to follow nationwide. Then, Texas can't say we're doing this, and Florida and Wyoming can't say we're going to do that. I says, if the number of people in hospitals is increasing, then, something's got to be done better. We also had a president who wouldn't acknowledge what was going on. We had a governor who tried his best. New York did the best it could, but it's not a good year, especially for politics. The American public was constantly asking itself, is this really our government? It doesn't help that humanity is always fighting some type of war.
I was someone who had to go to work.
I'm going to work. What other choice do I have?
I work at an enrichment center with the children of essential workers. Every morning I take the train to go to work. Usually when the city is normal, you get on the train and you see all different kinds of people. But during the lockdown, you would get on the train and you would only see essential workers. Janitors, security guards, grocery store workers, mail carriers, hospital workers. I knew that this is the population of New Yorkers that I belong to. Where you fit into society is a ball that really gets smacked home. You can really see it, and there's no hiding it. I felt a little angry and a little upset because it was a reminder of who you are in society or where you fit in. I'm not ashamed of it. It is the reality of my life and the reality of the lives of the people who had to go out to work. I also felt a sense of pride for the people that I was on the train with. I was proud of their strength and their responsibility for survival. They had to go out to work to feed their families, and because the city had to continue to move forward. All essential workers knew their part in making sure the city didn't collapse. I knew that I had to be one of the people on the train. When was the last time a pandemic happened? 80, 100 years ago? There was a coldness in the street when everything was closed, so I maintained my health with adventure, humor, and a lot of sarcasm. What else did we have?
What other choice do I have? The time went by so slowly. There's like a deep-seated hope in me that doesn't go away. I needed this time to slow down, zoom out, reflect. It was tough. How about you?
I realized my privileges. I realized where I belong in society. I enjoyed learning and teaching myself new things, and that human connection matters. What about you?
Grateful that I didn't lose my job. Grateful for growing up in the age of technology. At least we can connect online. Grateful that my family is safe. Grateful that I'm alive.
The election? Ah! I was so happy I cried. Well, happy tears this time. Oh goodness, I was ecstatic. I felt a sense of hope. I watched the inauguration, which was truly beautiful in every way, and it just felt like, this is where we should have been. A country that I feel proud and privileged and blessed to live in. To see what people do and what they've done this past year is... Words matter. Words matter. And when you have a leader in place that's using words to instill anger and divide, it's pretty hurtful, because we've never been that kind of country. You know, we're not meant for that. So to see it happening and to see all the negativity that came into play the last year was devastating. And when I saw the results of the election, it felt like we won. You know, it feels like at least we're moving, hopefully, away from a really oppressive threat to our democracy, to someone who's more inclusive. We have hope. This is going to get better.
So excited about this.
Hey, Michael.
Yes! How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, so good.
Oh, it's so nice to see you.
Like, this is honestly, so I needed this.
Highlight of my year.
Hey!
Hey!
How is everyone?
Oh, good now.
Needed that.
Oh, cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Happy hour.
What's your response to the last administration's handling of the pandemic?
Oh, God. To say that Donald Trump was a disappointment is an understatement. The English language is a vast, wonderful experiment in expression, but I don't believe the actual correct words exist to describe the level of disappointment in Donald Trump.
I think he actually thought it was better to play it down and not scare people. And I am politically, I'm not a supporter of President Trump, but I did understand why he was thinking of it from that mindset. I think in Trump's case, his whole thing is he wants to be liked. telling people to wear a mask is something people don't really want to do.
Hmm.
But instead of coaching people and educating people into it, he wants to be liked.
Well, in the UK, you've got Boris Johnson. They both got coronavirus because they were both just not taking it seriously. But do you remember that video of Trump where he's standing in front of the audience and he takes off his mask and it looks like he's having a hard time breathing?
Oh, yeah.
He actually was. It's like you had it and you still didn't take it seriously.
You know, my first response to the information about, like, leaving it up to the states flabbergasted me. Like, it has to be top down. And the people who defend that approach, like, I want to physically assault.
No.
No, but I just knew that they were the sheep and they were just following along. Like, everybody in every other country on the planet has been able to control this as much as possible. And the fact that we had a president, a sitting president, who didn't understand the information and would tell everybody that you didn't need to wear a mask, and like that injecting bleach might cure it?
Oh my gosh. Imagine if injecting yourself with bleach worked. Then we'd all have egg on our face right now.
Republicans will say that he took this very seriously. It's just like he didn't, though, because there's so many other countries that did.
Well, I've learned from having right-wing relatives, like, you can't. Some people, you just can't.
Well, I had a former neighbor in New York who saw us in September when we were there. He told us if Trump won the day after the election, hydroxychloroquine was going to be administered on a grand scale. He goes, right after the election, we're going to sell hydroxychloroquine. It's the answer to it all.
Oh God. Could you imagine if Obama was in charge?
Oh, I thought that too.
I thought it would not be like this. Like fear-mongering and all this ridiculousness. Like, I can't.
But this country does everything on fear-based tactics and response.
You know, I think Trump handled it in a way in which he didn't know how to handle it, much like his whole presidency. Like, I think Biden actually listens to the science and the doctors, and now we have a plan in place. But with Trump, I just feel like he wasn't listening to the facts. Like, he wasn't listening.
Meanwhile, everybody in every other country on the planet has been able to control it as much as possible.
However, I must say I really love Dr. Fauci.
I think you have a crush on Dr. Fauci.
Mm-hmm.
As we realize the reality of the coronavirus pandemic, we live in a time of uncertainty. We do not currently understand the full impact the coronavirus will have on the United States, or even the world. But if we look at the lessons of history, we may find some answers.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Before we transition into our talk back, I'd like to lead you all in a collective stretch and breath exercise. If you feel comfortable, you may close your eyes. So where you are, if you could just reach up to the sky and stretch. And the other way, stretch, stretch, stretch. Both hands, arms to your side. And roll your shoulders back. Close your eyes and breathe in and out. One more time, breathe in and out. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Jamie. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you everybody again for coming to see our ethnodrama. We're now going to transition into the talk back, so please feel free to stay on if you would like to be a part of our conversation. Also, when we're all finished, we're going to celebrate the graduates. So just to start off, if you have any initial thoughts or reactions to our piece, please write it in the chat.
Great. Well, those are coming in. Ethnodrama Ensemble. Let's talk about the process of creating this piece. So what was your creative process in creating the ethnodrama, starting from the research in the fall to interviewing participants through into creating this theatrical share? What was the experience like for you? This question is open to anyone in our ensemble. Deborah, yes.
Hi, Liza. Hi,
Hey,
Gabby,
Deborah.
Jamie, and Eli. This process was so exhilarating most of the time. Sometimes it was very stressful, but most of the time it was very exhilarating. Choosing the topic was very easy. We had a very agreeable group. But the fun part was doing the interviews. I think the interviews and then turning them into stories. I think that was my favorite part. But the collaborative process with just spending a year with a whole group of people and then half a year with 4 people for the whole year, because our small group was 4 people, was just amazing. So thanks.
Yes, Lexi.
I think it was really great to create our little moments. And I think that even the moments that didn't make it into the show were really just really invigorating to create, and how we were able to get this really hands-on experience through this and embody these people who sometimes we've known our entire lives. I know one of my moments was about my mom, who's a superintendent, and I think it's really fun to be able to put on these different hats and try on all these different perspectives based on the research and the interviews that we did. And it was really fun.
Thank you, Lexi. Sharon Dahl.
Hi, everyone. So I was actually in a group with Lexi. We were in the educational group. And I think the most important thing for the education group was to get everyone's voice heard. So the administration, the teachers, the students. And so we wanted to make it as realistic as possible. So half of our scenes took place on Zoom because that's the world we lived in for almost a year. And so those funny moments where you have a student who's trying to connect, and then someone a kindergartner who doesn't know how to use their microphone and is muted and is talking too loud. We just wanted to bring the realness of what everyone has been living throughout the past year.
Thank you so much. Eli, did you want to add something? Saw your hand up before.
I was just going to say that for me, coming to the end of last semester or last year and going into this class, I was nervous because this is a performance piece typically. But so COVID has actually given me the ability to participate in a way that I might not have been able to if we had been in person, because like doing all of the tech and being able to participate in that way is my thing. So I thought that was just very interesting and may not have happened if COVID had never happened.
Yeah,
for everybody else, sorry, Liza. For everybody else, was there anything surprising that you found when doing research about pandemic histories? Joey?
Yeah, so I was in the data and history group. So we really researched the histories of all of these pandemics and the similarities that happened, and the repeated histories really surprised me. The fact that in 1918, they had people that were anti-mask back then, and they held anti-mask rallies. The fact that in the AIDS epidemic, they were trying to downplay it and force it onto other people, and to have a scapegoat. And the reason, in 1918 as well, they called it the Spanish flu to blame the Spanish. And with the AIDS epidemic, they called it the gay plague. And we all know the different names that the people were calling the coronavirus, all to shift blame onto someone else. So that really, really struck a nerve with me in all of this research.
Okay. So this question is open to our audience as well as our class. Do you have a positive takeaway after viewing the piece or from the pandemic as a whole? I can't see everyone because there's multiple screens here, so you can just unmute yourself and chime in if you'd like.
Abby?
Arundel?
Yeah, I think the fact that this graduating class did this amazing piece, we like I think it was Jan who mentioned it in the beginning. We never met outside of this little box that we're all in. So the fact that we were able to collaborate so well and create such a beautiful piece was kind of a positive thing that I took out of this experience. Being able to learn from each other and work the tech of this performance.
Thank you. And Deborah, did you want to share something?
Well, I had kind of raised my hand for the surprise, but that's okay. I'll try to share. I was going to say that one thing that I found surprising was that even though intellectually I know that the impact on the most vulnerable, I know that in my head and I saw it in the news. When I was reading these reports for the research, Scott Stringer did 2 reports on the most protecting the most vulnerable and protecting the essential workers. And what struck me, and this is what came out in the story as well, was that the essential workers were living in the most vulnerable places as well. So they were not only going out and doing the work, they were coming back home to multiple, family homes and in neighborhoods that maybe weren't as clean, or air wasn't clean. So it was just like, it was so striking to me, that part. So
Okay, Eliza, would you?
Yeah, thank you, Deborah. That was such a powerful way to close this this talk back, and thank you for all of you for sharing your voices and your pieces. We would like to thank the individuals that we were able to interview that gave their time, thoughts, and words for this ethnodrama.
We would also like to take another round of applause for our essential workers as well.
Thank you again for coming, and we were now going to transition to a celebration for our graduates.
Thank you so much. I know I can speak for everyone when I say that was so moving and so powerful. Congratulations, all of you. Really, really well done. As Eli said, we're going to transition into the graduation portion of the evening. So if you are not graduating, please turn off your cameras. If you are a graduate, please keep your camera on. It is now my pleasure to introduce one of our amazing faculty members, Elizabeth Dunn Ruiz.
Thank you, Catherine. So as was mentioned, we are transitioning into the graduation portion of the night, and many things we have learned and been reminded of in the past year, but I've really been reminded that we must make space to grieve and also to celebrate. And we need to celebrate ourselves and support and celebrate the people around us. So we wanted to gather together as a community to honor our fall 2020 and our spring 2021 graduates. And what an amazing group of people they are. They have shown tremendous flexibility, resilience, and as you have just witnessed, creativity as students and as artists and in the classrooms where they have been observing and learning and creating community and teaching theater. So we are very excited that you are all here to support and celebrate our wonderful graduates. We have 2 graduation speakers tonight. Our first speaker is an alumni of the program. She is also a recipient of the Arthur Miller Foundation Excellence in Arts Education Award, a theater teacher at Brooklyn High School of the Arts, and has been an adjunct instructor with our program for several years. So please join me in welcoming Lisanne Schaefer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisanne Schaefer, and I am honored to be addressing you all as this year's alumni speaker. The program at CCNY in Educational Theater truly transformed my life, and I am elated to offer my congratulations to all of you, the class of 2021. This past year has truly been like none other, and I hope that you will all give yourselves an extra pat on the back for accomplishing this milestone amongst a pandemic. This moment is a testament to your resiliency. I remember when I was a recent graduate and a first-year teacher, and I asked a veteran teacher for advice. What she said to me has always stuck with me. She told me that each school year is like a marathon. You start off strong, and then somewhere in the middle, you get tired. Things start to feel rough, and you may even want to quit. But that is when you have to reach deep down into your spirit. Pull out your teaching philosophy, remember why you are here, and take it slow and steady until you get to the end of the race. I would say that all of you have proved your capacity and willingness to run that marathon. I hope that you take this lesson in resiliency into your classrooms all over New York City. I also hope that you will commit to developing new and improved practice in our field. Beyond the pandemic, we have seen the world really begin to open their eyes to the deep-rooted, systemically racist practices that have been accepted for far too long. We see our young people actively speaking out and demanding change and refusing to conform to societal norms. We know that theater has the power to evoke change, to build empathy, to examine injustice. Theater also has the power to heal. Augusta Boal once said, "Theater is a form of knowledge. It should and can also be a means of transforming society. Theater can help us build our future rather than just waiting for it." Our young people are not waiting. It is time. And I hope that each of you feel the gravity of that. And I also hope that you feel a sense of hope, knowing that you're going to be trailblazers in making this space for young people to know and create theater that will transform their lives and their futures for the better. Our CCNY ensemble is strong, so I also hope that you will keep in touch with your classmates. I hope you will collaborate with them often. I hope you will lean on them when things get rough. Always remember to be reflective in your teaching. Also, remember to continue to cultivate your artistry. Again, congratulations to all of you. I am so proud of everything you've accomplished in your time, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish in your classrooms and in the field of educational theater. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you so much to Lisanne for those beautiful words. Our second speaker is one of our amazing graduates. While in our program, she has produced the Harlem Children's Theater Festival, stage managed numerous events, participated in new student orientations and info nights, been a club officer, and just an all-around wonderful member of the ensemble. I am thrilled to introduce you to Charlotte Exton.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charlotte Exton. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a white female with curly brown shoulder-length hair, wearing a red floral dress with a blue blazer, with some pictures on the walls and a white door behind me. I would first like to acknowledge my incredible ethnodrama class. We have all worked so hard for this final product. We spent a year researching, interviewing, and devising with each other. And I can genuinely say that it's been an honor sharing this experience with you, and I'm so proud of our final product. So thank you. When Shobha first asked me to speak tonight, I will honestly say that I really had to think about what I wanted to share with all of you. But as I was thinking, my favorite quote from educator and practitioner Augusto Boal popped into my brain, as Lisanne mentioned him earlier in her speech. He said, "The theater itself is not revolutionary. It is a rehearsal for the revolution." A rehearsal for the revolution. This quote has stuck with me ever since I read his book, Theater of the Oppressed, during my first semester in the educational theater program. I've always been fascinated with the concept of theater inspiring change and action. To me, this is the epitome of the educational theater program. We are taught from day one that we, the educator, practitioner, artist, are capable of trying out new tactics, exploring new ways of thinking, and building up new students and artists. With all that we have been facing with injustice, uncertainty, and trauma, not only this past year, but years and years before, we must continue this rehearsal for the revolution. We have not only the power to inspire, but we have the responsibility to inquire. We must ask the hard questions, have those tough conversations, and we must start to disrupt the status quo. We need to hold ourselves and each other accountable in our decisions and actions. We shouldn't call out, we should call in, bring people together through our artistry and storytelling. That is the foundation of theater. This program has taught me time and time again that the importance of advocating for yourself and advocating for your community. I spent 3 years in this program, and I have witnessed the importance of and need for community. During my first year, I was the assistant producer of the Harlem Children's Theater Festival. I scheduled rehearsals, managed conflicts, found designers and volunteers, and sent countless emails. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or spread too thin by being a stage manager, I felt at home with these tasks. But on the day of the festival, I got to witness the hard work pay off and the magic begin. Graduate students coming together to create theater and a unique experience for all. Wide-eyed kids coming in with their families, some of them experiencing theater for the very first time, laughing and playing along. This was community. During my second year, I served as the vice president of the Educational Theater Club. We planned events, talked with incoming grad students, and when the pandemic hit in the spring, we tried our best to be a support system to our cohort. This was community. And during my third and final year, I worked as the program coordinator for our Family Arts Engagement video series, creating digital activities and theater performances for our families to share with each other. We strived on creating inclusivity and accessibility, and we had a blast while doing it. This is community. Because of these experiences, as well as countless others, I feel more prepared than ever to transfer these lessons, skills, and ideas to my own job and position I'm in now, and bring about change in a way that is beneficial to all. I must also acknowledge how I was able to achieve so much during my time here. My own personal community. To my family and friends, a lot of whom are watching now, hi. I would not have been able to get through these 3 years without your love, You have supported my decisions fully, and I could always count on you to be there. I will always be grateful to have you all in my life. Thank you, and I love you. To the entire team of adjunct professors, Darrell, Wendy, Lisanne, Kelly, Paul, you have made my experience here unforgettable. Your wisdom and your talent have inspired me to take bigger risks and to just have fun with it. Thank you. Now for our faculty. I feel extremely lucky to have been able to spend time with all three of these amazing individuals. Elizabeth Dunn Ruiz, you helped me realize that curriculum writing can be fun and to embrace the unknown. Also, your mini dance parties are always appreciated and come at the exact right moments. Thank you. Jan Valley, you have opened my mind to countless different perspectives and ideas. You've taught me to think about inclusivity and accessibility in a way I never have before. With every conversation I have with you, I've learned something new. Thank you. And to our fearless and always reliable leader, Shobha Kavanagh-Cudillo, I have learned so much from you, and you have been a rock for me during my time at CCNY. Your passion and dedication to the arts and education is refreshing, and you have a way of seeing the best in people. We've worked together very closely over the past 3 years, and it has been so much fun getting to know you. I know that I can always count on you to give me advice and to calm my brain when it's on overdrive. I am grateful to have you as my mentor, but also my friend. Thank you for all you have done for me and all that you do for this program. And before I go, I'd like to address my cohort for one last time. For everyone graduating, we did it. Congratulations. I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but I'm doing it, so there we go. I'm so proud of all of you and what you have accomplished, and I can't wait to see where life takes you next. And to my fellow ensemble members who are now in the program or any who will be in the future, take advantage of what this program has to offer. We are a community, we are an ensemble, and you are forever a part of my ensemble. Thank you for your creativity, your never-ending support, and all the love that you share. Let's go be a force of change and action. I end. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. That was beautiful. I have to take a deep breath. That was beautiful. What a year it's been. This year, teachers have been asked to think of new ways to keep our students engaged. And we've been asked to think of new ways to create theater. We all sort of had to figure it out together. And the good news is that we did. I have seen theater created in such innovative ways remotely. And tonight was a really strong example of that. I am so proud that our candidates continue to be enthusiastic and engaged. And so much of that is because of our amazing instructors. So I want to take a moment to thank Kelly Brady, Darrell Cooper, and Lisanne Schaefer. Thank you for sharing your passion and expertise with our students. I am also so grateful to have Elizabeth Dunn Ruiz and Jan Valley on my team. Your commitment and dedication is so appreciated. And just thank you for always being two people I can lean on. I continue to hear such inspiration in the voices of our students, and so much of that is because of the work all of you do with them. So thank you. Thank you to the families, parents, partners, children, colleagues, and friends. I am sure there are many of you who have supported our candidates, and I want to encourage the graduates to take a moment and say thank you to your support system, because you will continue to need them. And thank you to Catherine Jacobson and Kara Kramer for all your help this evening. Catherine for kind of emceeing and Kara for stage managing. So now, one of the special traditions in our program is sharing the Center Stage Award for our graduates. So it is my pleasure to share our Center Stage Award, and I'm going to ask Jan and Elizabeth to join me as we read their names. And as we read your names, graduates, you'll be spotlighted. So if you could, show your video and give a wave or take a bow. So here we go. This award is presented to all of our fall 2020 graduates and our spring 2021 graduates. Laura Amoruso, Lexi Bacati. Where's Lexi? There you are. Evan Briggs, Megan Kerr, Charlotte Exton. Hi, Megan. Can we just give them all some love and give them a round of applause wherever you are? Woo! Woo!
Our next group of graduates are Gabrielle Flores, Alexander Garcia, Ben Glykoff, Catherine Gonsalves, Joey Kovac, Callie McCready's, Liza Miller, Augustina Montesino, Shaime Yahia, and Jamie Schmidt.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
To continue, Elijah Schreiner, Janie Slavins, Sharon Dahl Suarez, Jana Tapia, Mary Terraquion, Michael Tuck, Melissa Volpe, and Eric Zimmerman. Let's give these graduates a lot of love. Congratulations. Woo! Woo!
So thank you for your dedication and commitment to the graduate program in educational theater at the City College of New York. May you continue to be reflective in your practice, artistic in your work, an advocate in your classroom, and know that you are always part of the ensemble in our program at CCNY. So we will mail these to you this summer. We hope that you're all able to celebrate with your families. We cannot wait to see the incredible work that you do in the field, in your classrooms, in the communities in which you work. And we all hope that you remain safe, healthy, and surrounded by love as you continue to be artists in your classrooms and communities. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we end. Let's send a lot of love to our
Yeah!
Go, Gabby!
Love you, Gabs.
I hear the drums echoing tonight, and she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight, the moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gotta take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. We're gonna take some time to do the things we never The wild dogs cry out in the night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become.